The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 111 of the Coach Curl podcast. Today, what is a lack of focus doing to your dreams? We'll find out.
Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul, I see you. All right, Charlie. Finish us. Coach Cole. Great job, guys.
Coach Cole, we love you.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 111 of the Coach Curl podcast. Tony Curl here, and I'm really glad that you've joined us. We've once again had some feedback and some conversations with people outside of the podcast, and thank you very much for your support and your ongoing support. And if we can help in any way, shape or form, send us through some feedback, send us through some questions that we can answer. More than happy to do that. Today's episode is all about learning to focus. And why do we want to learn to focus? Because when we learn to focus, flow and your dreams will happen. Now, it's important to understand that if you're trying to achieve anything in your life, what you have within you is already geared to make it happen. Now, you've heard that from many people. You hear that all the time, don't you? Some people don't believe it. Most do. But you really do have everything you need within you to achieve your dreams. It's a statement of fact. All of us are capable of achieving our dreams and our goals. We just need a little focus. And focus on what it is that's important, what it is that we're trying to achieve, and not to focus on a life that is designed to distract us and to move us away from where it is that we want to go. When we truly focus, we'll often achieve something called a state of flow. Now, you've probably heard that once again, Buddhist monks get into a state of flow. All these high spiritual people get into a state of flow. But it's easy for you to do the same. And you may think it's beyond you, but it's ultimately not. And you may not necessarily label it as a state of flow. But at some stage in your life, at least one stage in your life, you have achieved a mental and emotional state where things have come more easily than what they potentially have in the past. Now, I'm not talking about sitting back and thinking that you've got an easy life and that you've got it all figured out. Absolutely not. No, I'm not talking about that. This is not something that just happens in your head. This is where momentum comes from. This is where momentum is built. This is that ability for us to be able to roll through, make things happen with seemingly less effort. And this is actually real. But how can we do it? Now, we know that getting into this state of flow improves our behavior and impacts on our results in a positive sense. When we achieve a state of flow, you work in such a way that things become quicker, easier, and less effort. Things just fall into place, don't they? And it seems like regardless of what you do, when you make a move, things happen. That's a state of flow. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could do this with almost anything within your life? Well, I can tell you that habitually successful people, those people that seemingly have this gift, trigger a state of flow in almost everything that they do. That's why they're able to achieve what they're able to do. For the rest of us mere mortals, or for the rest of humanity, people have to struggle with proper motivations to get into that state of flow and to get our dreams happening. But it is available to us. In fact, I would hasten to add that a lot of people are really clueless about this mental and emotional state. But as you're listening to this podcast, I don't believe that that's you. Now, to trigger a state of flow, you need to be motivated. Now, motivation enables you to keep doing things despite the fact that there are people around you telling you that it cannot be done. Have you been there? Of course you have. We've all been there. Motivation enables you to keep doing what it is that you're doing despite the fact that there are people around you telling you that it cannot be done. Motivation is what you need to keep pushing when it seems that the only thing you can achieve is failure, disappointment, and heartbreak. Now, motivation is crucial to achieving the state of flow. But once you get there, you can trigger this state of momentum where you're able to maintain that state for an extended period of time. However, you have to get there first, and this means motivation. It's the old concept of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. What comes first? In flow, motivation comes first. Flow will only come from motivation, and motivation can be driven by a simple concept called focus. Focus, people. Focus. How many times have you heard that? You may have been caught telling your kids that as you're trying to do 3 or 4 things at once. The problem is most people allow the small stuff of life, like deadlines, duties, some of the obligations that we may have, some of the distractions that we face from other people, some of the needs of other people, some of the needs from people at work, for example, like your boss, to kill your focus. We allow that stuff to happen. We allow the distractions to happen. We get caught up in things like reality TV, where we expand this huge amount of energy on things that we just have no control over. None. And that's why we can't focus. If you don't focus, it kills motivation. Because basically you're living a life of distraction and you're impacted by everything except what it is that you're chasing. We're trying to put band-aids on everything to prevent crisis. This is what you may be doing. You're not looking at the big things in life. If you're not focused, if you're not motivated, if you're not in a state of flow, maybe it's because you're not looking at the big things in life. You're not allowing yourself to be driven by your focus. You're not doing any of that. Instead, you're just trying to focus on the little things, the busyness of our lives. You're too obsessed about the things maybe that are standing right in front of you, but then losing sight of some of the most important things that are standing right beside them. You know, there's no doubt that you put in time, you put in effort, and you expand energy, but you have little to show for it. You're basically just living day to day. Now, when you're sick and tired of living a life that's thrown at you, that's when often we'll make changes. We know that. People will make changes when there's pain is sufficient enough to get them away from the state of the status quo. So when we're in pain enough, we will make that change. But I also know that when we're living in a state of growth and we're living with a concept called progress, we're also able to focus, maintain motivation, and achieve things that we never thought possible. Now, one little tip on today's podcast on how you can get focused. And this may sound really simple, but do one thing at a time. One thing. You know, we live around so many people demanding our attention, demanding our time. We have kidded ourselves. We kid ourselves that we can increase our performance and productivity by multitasking. Now, you may believe that you're actually good at multitasking, and some of us are relatively effective. But can I tell you, we're better at single tasking. As Stephen Covey said in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, schedule your priorities, not prioritize your schedule. But you can only schedule your priorities if you know what's important to you. Otherwise, if you don't prioritize your schedule. Know what's important, schedule appropriate time slots daily, and focus in. And this is when you'll start to see flow work its magic in your dreams. Hey, a big thanks to Think and Grow Business for your ongoing support and sponsorship. Personal, professional and business growth awaits you, and contact them today at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au. Don't forget, I have a book. It's called Seriously Simple Stuff to Get You Unstuck. It's a selection of stories that help you find simplicity in your life, because when you find simplicity, you'll find clarity and you'll find purity. And don't forget, 20% of every book sold goes to support the wonderful people at Carter's Cause, raising funds and awareness for parents and kids born with congenital heart disease. Now, a new supporter, we've got Totally Builderall. It's a complete digital marketing platform to help your business. Now, we use this platform for our landing and lead pages, and currently we have over 14 landing pages built on the platform. There are so many digital marketing apps available inside. We are not even scratching the surface with it for what it's able to do. You should check it out, and you can sign up today for a free 7-day trial at totallybuilderall.com. That's totallybuilderall.com. Sorry. Until next week, you are standing here today stronger, braver and wiser. Don't ever forget the golden rule. Just don't be an asshole. I'll see you next time.